What's up, A to Z Sports? Titan Game Day Live. The post-game show as the Titans do survive in a ridiculous ending, 24-22 against the Las Vegas Raiders. Austin Stanley and Jack Gentry here to break down the Titans' first win of the season. There's a lot of things to complain about. There's a lot of things to be upset about. But in the end, the Titans do get it done and avoid going into an 0-3 hole. As they showed at the end of the Fox broadcast, a 25% chance to make the playoffs at 1-2, or a 2.5% chance to make the playoffs at 0-3. So a big difference in that. We're going to talk about it all. We'll talk about Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, the Titans defense, and what they allowed Matt Collins to do. But Jack, tell the people what they got to do before we officially get going.
That's right. Titans with a big win. They get to 1-2 on the season. While you guys are filing in, I know everybody wants to react to this big game, this big win. But in order to do that, we need everybody in here. So if you're watching on Facebook, make sure to share the show. Share it to your Titans groups. I know all of you guys are in your Titans Facebook groups. If you're watching on Twitter, retweet it. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, copy that link and send it to your Titans text groups. Let's get everybody in here. I want to hear from all of you guys in this post-game show. First win of the season. It's a big one. I know you guys are going to want to react to the second half. Wasn't as good as the first, but let's get everyone in here and let's have a conversation about it. Titans win. Let's have a post-game show. Austin Stanley.
All right, let's do it officially. Welcome into the Titan Game Day Live post-game show presented by Buddy Allen Carpet One. Buddy Allen Carpet One, Nashville, always giving you free in-home measures and estimates. And Buddy Allen Carpet One, Nashville.com, also presented by the NoDat app. It makes it easy to connect with local businesses and events and deals near you. Download the NoDat app today. Mr. Goodroof, your local roofing, gutter, and window specialist, MrGoodroof.com. The Crumble Cookies app, which I feel like everybody could use something to make them feel better after that. Crumble Cookies, download the app and find the nearest location near you. And BetMGM, the Titans do win as a 2.5-point underdog today against the Raiders. Download the BetMGM app. Use our code ATOZ Sports for risk-free bet on pro football up to $1,000. So, Jack, 24-22, Titans win. There was a lot of theatrics. 0 points in the second half for the Titans offense, and they allow the Raiders to get 2 field goals and a touchdown and get the big stop on the 2-point conversion. Jack, how are you feeling as you watch the end of that Titans game there today?
Well, while it is a win, it doesn't really feel like the Titans won that game. It felt like that they survived, right? Yeah. A second half dud, and we talked about confidence levels at halftime. I was really high. The Titans offense made no adjustments at halftime. That falls on Todd Downing. And I don't want a win to cover up the offensive frustrations that we saw in that second half. It was exactly like the Giants game, just Derek Carr and that Raiders offense couldn't get the 2-point conversion. Otherwise, I think the Raiders win that game if they score that 2-point conversion. I know the Titans would get the ball back, but if it goes into overtime, the Titans had no momentum. So They come away with the win. They avoid the 0-3 start, which we talked about. Only 6 teams since 1979 have made the playoffs after starting 0-3. So that's good that the Titans get a win. The Colts beat the Chiefs today, so they've got to keep pace in the AFC South. But like I said, doesn't really feel like the Titans won. It felt like they just survived, and the Raiders ran out of time.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, Jack. The Titans have so many issues that I don't even know where to begin in this conversation because, let's start defensively. I don't know. I think Terrence Mitchell is going to be a 1-week Titan, and then he is probably going to be looking for a new job after the Titans signed him 3 days ago. He starts and plays nearly every defensive snap opposite Christian Fulton at corner. But what does that say about Caleb Farley? Is that you signed Terrence Mitchell off the Patriots practice squad 3 days ago, and he plays, and Caleb Farley doesn't, except for one play where Christian Fulton goes out with like a calf cramp. That's ridiculous. They made Matt Collins look like Devontae Adams. Why the Raiders didn't throw the ball to Devontae Adams more, I don't understand. Why Derrick Henry was only able to get 20 rushing yards in the second half of that game as you were up by 2 touchdowns is beyond me. It felt like the Titans forgot what to do offensively in the second half after being near perfect for the first half. They scored 24 points in the first half, Jack. They scored touchdowns on their first 3 possessions and then automatically forgot how to do it all. And, Ryan Tannehill, terrible interception, all those things. But you can exhale because the Titans won. The Colts won. And as soon as the Colts beat the Chiefs, you immediately look around and say the Titans cannot afford to lose this game because they have to keep pace, like you said, with the Colts in the division. And if the Colts get to 1-0-2 or 1-1-1, then the Titans cannot go to 0-3, but they got it. We'll see what happens with the Jags and the Chargers later on this afternoon, but the Raiders are in a tough spot now, and the Titans live to fight another week. So a big game there. So Jack, what's standing out to you in the chat from everybody watching on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch?
Well, I think the number one thing that's standing out to me is that people are really upset about Terrence Mitchell, and how could you not be? I mean, you mentioned what does that say about Caleb Farley? Well, the Titans coaching staff clearly doesn't trust him, especially against. I mean, it's Mac Hollins out there burning Terrence Mitchell. This is not Hunter Renfrow. This is not Devontae Adams. It's Mac freaking Hollins. I mean, come on. Caleb Farley has to be so far behind. I mean, we're starting to talk about 4-letter words that start with B when you bring up Caleb Farley. And that's not a good thing because it was a risk that John Robinson took in the draft. I understand that Jeffrey Simmons, he was injured. He fell, get the value. That did not work for Caleb Farley. And the Titans can't afford to be whiffing on picks in the secondary. McCreary had a great pass breakup towards the end of the game in the end zone. But that's standing out to me. Look, Ryan Allen here, he says 39 is a bump. And that's those type of comments are all over the place, just talking about Terrence Mitchell's performance. But look, it was ugly. It was bad. It stunk in the second half. It was a who wants it less type of game. But the Titans got to win. They got in the win column. That's the goal at the end of the day. You got to win, and you work on your issues this next week. A lot of guys injured. It was a next man up situation for that Titans defensive line. I thought Jeffrey Simmons and Danico Autry came to play today. Those guys really stepped up big, got some pressure. Rashad Weaver was back there as well. So it was ugly, but it was a win. The Titans got that win. They needed to get a win to get off the schneid, get some, get that locker room back on its feet. The Lawan stuff, the Kyle Phillips, Bud Dupree, all these guys that are so crucial to this team missed today, and they still found a way to win.
Yeah, and it's funny because I do see a comment that Hammer on YouTube says, "Why the hell are y'all so mad?" LOL. Now, I don't know if he's talking about Jack or I, or if he's talking about everybody in the chat. Mark says the ugliest win beats a beautiful loss.
That's right.
I agree. It's a great saying, put it on a t-shirt and wear it around the Titans facility because it feels like that's what they live by. But it almost does it feel like the Titans won or that the Raiders lost? Because what's the reason? Because what's the reason why the Titans won? Keelan Cole, not Keenan, because the two idiots in the Fox booth called him Keenan Cole all dang day. His name is Keelan Cole, and it's not like they didn't have opportunities to fix that, but his name is Keelan, not Keenan. It's like his 7th year in the league, and why they can't get that right, I don't understand. But he drops the pass when he's wide open. Then, a lucky bounce on the 2-point conversion. I will give the credit to the Titans defense for getting their hands on the football there. But, it feels like the Raiders made the mistake at the very end. And that's why the Titans won the game. And Dion says the Raiders lost, the Titans survived. Darren says the Raiders lost, hasn't scored any points in the second half, I don't think, this season. Let's see. No, the Titans did have a touchdown in the second half of the Giants game, that touchdown pass to Jontrell Hilliard. But let's go ahead and get to this because a lot of people are commenting on the Raiders loss. The Titans necessarily didn't win. Dylan Cole. There were 2 Coles on the field, and Dylan Cole was not doing much either there and making some mistakes. But, Jack, let's get to our one-word segment that we do every post-game show. One word to describe how you feel about the Titans win today over the Las Vegas Raiders. What is one word to describe how you feel about the Titans win over the Las Vegas Raiders? Jack, I'm going to send you to the chat, but I'm going to tell everybody about Buddy Allen Carpet One. Buddy Buddy Allen Carpet One Nashville.com, locally owned and operated by the Allen family for over 55 years. Zach, Jen, and Judson are literally in the store every single day. They always offer you a free in-home measure and estimate, and they are a full service flooring company. That does not mean that it costs you more money. You actually get experienced flooring work done by Buddy Allen's professional certified installers, and you save money. It's the best of both worlds, saving money on your new floors, and you get qualified workers who guarantee their work only at Buddy Allen Carpet One. Find them in Donaldson or check them out online, Buddy Allen Carpet One Nashville.com. Jack, what are the people saying about their one word to describe the Titans win over the Las Vegas Raiders today? I feel like a lot of survived is going to happen. So let's just go ahead and rule out the word survived, because it is the word we use for the title of the show here, Jack.
That's right. Yeah. Aaron Wright says lucky. Jacob says meh. Yeah, it was very meh second half, wasn't it? Not too impressive. Troy also says lucky. Escaped is Alex. I like that word, escaped. Byard says David Allen. Huge pick in the end zone. Byard and Hooker, each with a monster pick so far this season, with an opponent driving. In week 1, it was Hooker picking off Daniel Jones. Chandler says relief. Steven says ugly. Brandon going lucky as well. Frustrated, says TJ. So he's not exactly happy with the win. The performance frustrated him. Nicholas says better. It was better. The Titans won. That's better. Let's see. There's some funny ones in this one. Desperate, says Joel. The Titans looked like a desperate team on defense for most of that game. Now, the secondary, there were some issues back there, but I do agree that front seven played with a sense of desperation today.
Yeah. Let me stop you there.
Yeah.
I'll have you keep looking through some comments for some viewers, but let's spend some time on the Titans front, because I think without Bud Dupree, without Ola Daney, I thought those guys played their butts off up front. And I talked about that in our pregame show with our Know Dat segment. I said, I know that the Titans will get pressure up front with Jeffrey Simmons and his crew in the interior defensive line. And they did that, even though they didn't get a lot of sacks on Derek Carr. There towards the end, you really saw the Titans defense pressuring Carr, hitting Carr. They made him throw the ball away a lot. Danico Autry played a really strong game as well as Rashad Weaver. T.R. Tart had a big holding call that wiped off a big play. I believe it was after Tannehill's interception. It was the first play, right? They have a big play down the field, I believe, to Waller, and it was wiped off because T.R. Tart drew a holding penalty on the right guard of Las Vegas. And so I do think the Titans D-line deserves a lot of credit. So, Jack, I'll send you back to the comment section to see what they say.
Here's one that we talked about at halftime. Culture. It was a battle of culture. This was a culture game. Josh McDaniels trying to establish one in Las Vegas. They blew a huge lead last week. The Titans have a strong culture. Vrabel's built it. John Robinson has helped. And some of these veterans. But, some of those guys who helped it, like Lawan, like Bud Dupree, who's a veteran edge rusher, like Harold Landry, they weren't there today. So it's good to see that the Titans were able to win. I think that's a nod to the culture that the Titans have in this next man up. Escaped. We're seeing a lot of escapes from Chase Hill, escaping from Yuri. We got anxious from Andre. Fortunate from Drew. A lot of luck. Hammer says grit. Hammer, you're on fire today. I'm liking your one words. Disappointing from Alex and pathetic from Joshua. Guys, it was a Titans win.
The second half was pretty pathetic, though.
It was pretty pathetic. Hey,
yeah.
They're not always pretty, and I think the Titans fans saw that today. So a lot of relief, a lot of lucky. There is some pessimism, though, even after the Titans get in the win column for the first time this season.
Yeah, they definitely kept us with stuff to talk about. There's a lot of people that disagree. Anthony says the D-line sucks. Carr had all day, Austin. I'm not saying that it was great the entire game, but they showed up in big moments, did they not? Did the defensive line not show up in big moments today?
I thought they did. I thought they did their best to get pressure on Carr. Even on that last Raiders drive, Carr had to throw it away a couple of times because he had defenders in his face.
It's not the fault of the D-line that Derek Carr had a lot of numbers. I mean, Terrence Mitchell was terrible. Christian Fulton and Amani Hooker looked like they were doing a Three Stooges bit on that one play down the left sideline where Hollins, again, had a 60-yard catch. But, it just looked weird in the secondary all day for the Titans defense. But I thought Weaver, Simmons, and Autry all played well for the most part. Then you have guys around them that are playing above what their role needs to be. So I think considering who the Titans had out there at defensive line and on the edge, the Titans D-line, I thought, overall defensive front, did a good job today against the Raiders.
My one word today is going to be identity, Austin.
Okay.
I thought the Titans did a good job in getting back to their identity. I wrote a story. I've been pretty hard on Downing for those of you guys who read A to Z Sports. I've got to admit, the toss plays not involving Henry enough, kind of going away from the Titans' offensive identity. I thought in the first half, mostly they got back to that. And we saw more of Henry in the passing game than I think we've ever seen in his career. He caught 5 balls for 58 yards. Yeah. He had over 140 yards total, passing, receiving, and rushing. So I thought they got back to their identity on offense. Now, the second half was a little sloppy. I thought the penalties were kept in check for the most part. And, your calling card on defense is that pass rush. Even with your best guys out, and Dupree and Landry, and having no real, starter in this game at the edge position, I thought they did well in getting back to what they do best. If you're the Titans, you got to let the main thing be the main thing. The main thing is Derrick Henry. He got fed today and he produced.
He did. The second half was pretty brutal to watch for the Titans offense there. And we'll talk more about that in here a second. My one word is simply alive, that you stayed alive here and survived, alive, all that kind of stuff. I think the Titans would have to start digging their own grave if they lost this game, and the Raiders are starting to dig their own grave today because they're 0-3. They play in the hardest division in football in the AFC West. There is zero chance the Raiders have this season. They're done. They're toast already because they've got a divisional loss. They have another AFC loss, and they have the Kyler Murray win they had over the Cardinals taken away from them there in week 2. So if you flip that, the Titans are digging their own grave. And so luckily they're alive, right? And the AFC South, are they tied for the lead? Or I guess the Colts technically have the lead right now because of the tie. And then the Jags play this afternoon with a chance to get to 2-1 over the Chargers. But without a win today, the Titans are dead. So they are alive, and that is my one word today.
I like that. And the defense really kept them alive. The Raiders go 1 for 12 on third down. We talked about not letting Davante Adams beat you. They didn't do that. They kept Davante Adams under wraps the entire game. I mean, it was Mac Hollins who had 158 yards and 8 catches. Adams had 5 for 36. That's okay. Let him do that. Waller, 3 for 22. So you could tell that Shane Bowen and Mike Vrabel got in a room and were like, hey, man, we can't let Waller and Adams beat us because, they're capable of doing that to every team they play. So yeah. I would have liked to see Mac Hollins kept in check, for God's sakes, but that's on Terrence Mitchell. So I did think the Titans did better on the money down on offense. They went 5 for 10 on third down. Outside of that careless Tannehill turnover, the offense was kind of efficient. I mean, they weren't a total liability today. The 24 points in the first half was great. I'd like to see some in the second half. For as good as the Titans are in their opening drive, where does that go in the second half when they get the ball for the first time? Because that was brutal.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. I saw somebody commented that we're really staying away from Todd Downing. Look, guys, we will have so much time to go after Todd Downing this week. It's
a weekly affair.
There wasn't, I will say, with Todd Downing today, and I want to get on to one thing of really what I thought cost the Raiders today. There wasn't the obvious, like, what the hell are you doing, Todd Downing, today? Now, let me take that back because I just remembered it.
The Hilliard play at the end of the first half was exactly that.
No, I mean, I understand that. And that's probably a Mike Vrabel decision more than it is a Todd Downing. The Hilliard handoff before half. I thought the one, like, what the hell are you doing, Todd Downing, was when Tannehill had the sack fumble on 2nd and 11 there when the Titans needed to get a first down to continue draining the clock, right? And they didn't do it because on 2nd and 11, they decided to run a tight end screen to Jeff Swaim. And Ryan Tannehill got attacked fast, and it was quick, and it fumbled. And then NWI was right there to pick it up. But there is no reason to run a tight end screen to Jeff Swaim when the game is on the line in the fourth quarter on 2nd and 11. So that's the one Todd Downing play where I'm like, what are you even thinking of doing here?
The second half could have also looked a little bit better if Treylon Burks holds on to that ball on 3rd down. Yeah. I thought that kind of handcuffed him, and he didn't really know what to do, so he left his feet. Don't leave your feet, Treylon Burks. Why the Titans drafted you is because not only can you make the catch, but you're so good after the catch. So don't leave your feet. Catch that ball. It's a rookie mistake, but it was one that almost cost the Titans. They could have gotten points on that drive, and this game wouldn't have been as nerve-wracking as it ended up being.
And so J. Cole says that was a bad throw by Tannehill. It was the throw was behind Treylon Burks.
But Burks made that a lot harder than he should have.
Treylon, that's a typical young player jumped when you don't need to jump, and you're able to keep your feet on the ground and adjust to the football. It reminded me of something that Justin Hunter did nearly every time. So
I said that was a 3rd down. That was a 4th down play.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But it wasn't good. He was open. I thought Tannehill got buried on the throw. I thought he did a great job just getting rid of the football and putting it close to him. But that's a catch that when you draft a guy in the 1st round, number 18 overall, you want to see him make. So, yes. He's still got a ways to go. Burks didn't really pop to me today, but that's okay because Robert Woods did, at least in the 1st half. Nobody on the Titans offense really did much in the 2nd half, but I was really impressed with what Robert Woods today.
Yeah, Robert Woods, 4 catches, 85 yards, and a 21-yard punt return for the Titans, all in the 1st half, right? All in the 1st half from Bobby Trees that helped the Titans get that 2-touchdown lead at halftime. They didn't score any points here in the 2nd half. So live here on A to Z Sports, our Titan post-game show presented by Buddy Allen Carpet One Nashville.com for your new floors. Go check them out, Buddy Allen Carpet One Nashville.com. It is time for me to tell you the real reason of why the Titans won today. Darren Waller. Darren Waller cost his team at least 18 points today.
Oh, 18?
At least 18 points. You mean go through it?
Yeah, I'll run me through it because 18 seems like a lot.
No, it's correct. 18 points. Darren Waller cost his team 18 points today. It started on the Raiders' first drive of the game when he had 2 hands on the football. When Devontae Adams and he were in the same position, he had 2 hands on the football. You got to catch that. He drops it on 3rd down right there. Raiders kick a field goal. So there's 4 points, right? Jack, I'll let you keep the score on that.
Okay, we're at 4.
There's 4 points. All right. So then later on in the 1st half, Darren Waller was wide open running down the left side of the field on a corner route. All he does is stick 1 hand out there. And if he goes 2 hands out there, I think Darren Waller catches it, and nobody was in the picture. And so Darren Waller would have walked into the end zone there in the 2nd quarter. And how many points is that now, Jack? What's 4 plus 7?
That's going to be 11.
That's 11 points. And Percy says, is Waller on your fantasy team, Austin? No, I don't play fantasy football. So Waller's not on my fantasy team because I don't have a fantasy football team. So, Jack, that's 11 first half points that Darren Waller cost his football team. Then, in the 4th quarter, the Raiders are driving, still down 2 scores. Derek Carr throws over the center into Darren Waller's hands. He gets hit. Ball pops up. Kevin Byard interception, returns it past the 20. And Darren Waller, if he catches that football and hangs on to it, it was in his hands. If he catches that football, he gets hit and falls into the end zone. That's 7 points. Jack, what's 11 plus 7?
We're at 18.
Darren Waller cost his football team 18 points today by 3 drops.
When you put it that way, yeah, you're not wrong. And here, I thought that the
and guess what? Guess what, Jack? Guess what? Let's just say one of those plays goes a different direction. What's the score?
Oh, Titans lose the ball game.
No 1 out of 3.
One of them. No
you see one out of those 3 that Darren Waller actually catches, and he's a Pro Bowl level tight end. He's worth the contract the Raiders just paid him. But if he catches one of those 3, the Titans lose this game, and now they are digging their grave.
Yeah, I don't want to go as far as to say the Titans didn't stop Darren Waller because Darren Waller stopped Darren Waller, but we're kind of closing in on that territory, right? He did not play well today. Foster Moreau was the other tight end for the Raiders, who is very capable. We've seen him fill in for Waller and have some big days in this league.
Yeah.
He got loose a couple times on this Titans secondary, but they survived. It's survive and advance in this 17-game gauntlet, especially with a first place schedule that the Titans are playing. We're circling that week 6 bye as for a time for the Titans to get healthy. Hopefully the Titans can figure out who they are by that time. But going into a game on the road against the Colts next weekend, Colts are flying high after beating the Chiefs today. But I think positive forward momentum was key to have heading into Indianapolis, where the Titans have caused some problems for the Colts in these recent years. But
yeah,
the defense, they did enough to win this game. I was pleased with Shane Bowen. I was pleased with the rotational pieces on this defense outside of Terrence Mitchell, because he was god-awful. But I can't sit here and tell you I'm disappointed. Like, there's a lot of disappointed people in the chat. The Titans got to win. They had to get a win. They were. If you had asked me before the game who's got the better roster, it's those guys in Las Vegas. They have the more talented roster. The Titans with the game plan, with execution in the first half, and with a defense that bend but didn't break, survived, and the Titans win their first game. So I'm not sitting here disappointed if I'm a Titans fan, because you got to win. Let's not get greedy. This was a team that just got blown out by 34 on Monday Night Football and lost to the Giants in week 1. It's not going to turn around overnight. It's not going to flip in 1 week. They got the win. They get to build on it. The Colts game is the biggest game. The next game is the biggest game. But this Colts game, with it being an AFC South one, a divisional game, it's one that the Titans can't afford to lose, even though it's in Indianapolis.
Let's also think about this too, because the Colts did beat the Chiefs, which that stinks for the Titans, because if the Chiefs beat the Colts, which you would all expect, then the Titans would have that much closer ability to be potentially leading the AFC South after today if the Jags lose. But the Chiefs lose, right? The Bills lose to the Miami Dolphins. What does that mean, Jack? It means there's only one undefeated team in the entire AFC. The Miami Dolphins are 3-0, and they play in the same division as the Bills, which, they might split that game. So the conference, as wild as it's going to be, the Titans 1-2 start is not nearly as bad, because it seems like everybody's got a blemish minus the Miami Dolphins.
You're right. And it feels like there's going to be a wild card team, whether it's the Bills or the Dolphins, that wins 12 games this year. That's how good those two teams are. Yeah. So it's going to be tough to get in the playoffs with that extra spot in the AFC South. So gettable this season. By the way, Matt Ryan has to be the most sackable quarterback I've ever seen in my entire life. That dude, with an ounce of pressure in his face, crumbles to the ground. We've got Crumble Cookies as a sponsor. He ought to wear that on his jersey. He just folds like a lawn chair anytime there's a guy near him. I think the Titans pass rush, if they can get one of these guys back, either Bud Dupree or Ola Adeni, they could really cause some problems for the Colts.
Yeah, they definitely do need extra help on the edge when it comes to that. And look, they're missing Harold Landry a lot, especially in the run game when it comes to setting the edge on that side of the defense for the Titans. A to Z Sports here live on this post-game show presented by Buddy Allen Carpet One Nashville.com. Jack Gentry in for Zach today. Zach will be back tomorrow morning on A to Z Sports. So let's talk about, we haven't spent a lot of time talking about the Titans offense that much, and particularly Ryan Tannehill, but we're going to do that now. We're going to grade Ryan Tannehill. And so we want you guys to put in your grade on the Titans quarterback. Excuse me. On the Titans quarterback. I'll go ahead and read his stats to you right now so you can go through it. How do you grade Ryan Tannehill? We do pluses and minuses as well in this. He was 19-27 for 264. That's 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked 1 time, a quarterback rating of 98.4. He did have 4 carries, 2 of them kneel downs at the end, and had a rushing touchdown. So how do you grade Ryan Tannehill? 2 total touchdowns, 1 interception, 264 yards passing in the game. But first, let me tell you guys about our sponsor, Crumble Cookies. They have a rotating menu with over 175 flavors that change out every week. So check out the Crumble Cookies app on whatever phone you got. Download that Crumble Cookies app. There's also a ton of locations in the city of Nashville as well, so or beyond, right? Crumble Cookies is everywhere. So order Crumble in-store, take out for delivery, curbside, pick up, nationwide shipping. They've got you. Get somebody you love a Crumble Cookie gift card. Maybe if you're feeling down, even though the Titans won, Crumble Cookies will make you feel a little bit better. They are made fresh every day with their open kitchen concept. You can watch them be made fresh. So download the Crumble Cookie app, our quarterback grade. So, Jack, I'll let you go to it. How is everybody grading Ryan Tannehill today?
Some mixed reviews in the chat. Hammer's got him down for a B. Mark Jones says C. Andrew agrees with Hammer at a B. Chris Head's going as low as a D. Omar, he's going C. Tannehill A minus. They say wins are not a quarterback stat, but Sam's factoring it in on Tannehill's grade, it looks like. Major Keys says C. Stephen King says C minus here as my chat reloads here. We've got a B minus. Here's Zach Goodman saying a B. Dion's going B. We've got, let's see, B minus here from Shane. So passing grades for the most part, but nobody really, there's a couple A's, A minuses in there, but it seems like everybody's kind of on that B, C range.
What do you think, Jack?
I'm teetering between B minus and C plus. I'm going to go with a B minus because he did look sharp in that first half, and he had the one turnover, and it came in a bad spot on the field. 19 of 27, that's pretty efficient. I don't want to downgrade him too much for that pick because it was only one pick, and the Titans did end up winning. He did enough on offense in the first half for them to pick up the win. So I'm going B minus, but it's a low B minus. I'm giving him an 80. So 1 point away from being a C plus, but it's a passing grade. You're not going to hang it on your fridge. You're going to look to the next test to bump that average up, which will be next week against the Indianapolis Colts. But I'm going B minus.
Yeah, it's interesting. If Treylon Burks catches that 4th and 4 pass there, I guess that was at the very beginning of the fourth quarter. How do we feel differently about Tannehill, right? Because that's an extra set of downs. The clock continues to run. Maybe the Titans go down there and score points. Like the drop on Burks is not Tannehill's fault. Like you said earlier in the show, Jack, Tannehill got smacked on that play and had to do a really good job of even getting the ball off there. And so, the pick was terrible. I don't understand what he saw there. Like, did he think Robert Woods was going to be out of his break a lot earlier? Did he freak out because he thought pressure was coming down the straight middle of the pocket? It seemed like a freak out throw, and he can't afford to do that anymore.
I think you've got to kind of grade him on a curve a little bit too, because that offensive line he was playing behind, those guys haven't played a whole lot of games together in this league. Really, I don't know that they've played one together in the NFL, with Petit Frere being a rookie on the other side, and you've got left tackles coming from out of the woodworks to fill in for Lawan. But I do think you got to kind of factor that in. And I know people are hard on Tannehill, especially after the loss to the Bengals in the playoffs last year. But what makes Tannehill good is he lets this offense work. Like he's a guy if you have a good system, you're going to go far because he doesn't make those mistakes. That was a rare decision for Tannehill. He makes pretty good decisions with the football, but that one was one of his worst, I think, that I've seen. He threw into double coverage over there to Woods, who was like you mentioned, nowhere near the sideline where that ball ended up going. But I do think you got to give him credit for playing behind a makeshift offensive line.
So you said B minus, right?
I went B minus. How are you feeling?
I think I have to agree because in reality, Ryan Tannehill won the Titans the game in the first half, right?
Yeah.
He was really good in the first half.
Between him and Derrick Henry.
Yeah. And then like I try to go through the play-by-play while we're on the show here, and it's hard to do that because obviously I'm listening to Jack and interacting with you guys and doing a bunch of other things. But I look at the interception I just kind of talked about. That was a terrible throw. Then you have the 4th and 4 drop from Treylon Burks, right? That's not Tannehill's fault. He put the ball in a catchable spot for Burks when he got hit on the throw. Then the next drive, the Titans still punted, but on 3rd and 8, he threw a dart to NWI, low, safe, to gain 15 to convert a first down. And then on 3rd and 9, he threw another nice ball out to Austin Hooper, who fell, then rolled around, but didn't roll forward enough for a first down. Like that should have been a first down.
He's just got to keep rolling on that one.
I don't understand. Like, stop, drop, and roll. Like, act like it's a fire drill. Come on, Hooper, do something. And like, I saw him get up and kind of wince. Like, I don't know if it's something got poked in the eye or whatever on that play. Because like Austin Hooper should have, if he was disoriented about where he was. First, I think the ref still had a bad spot. He was probably short on the down, but still, like, you got to catch that ball and roll up field, do something to get there, because Tannehill was allowing his guy to gain a first down on a 3rd and 9 with 7 minutes left in the game.
He looked like a turtle on his back, just kind of squirming around, but not really going anywhere.
He was stuck. And then the last other play that Tannehill had, really, where he had an opportunity, he really didn't even have a chance, which was the 2nd and 9 screen to Jeff Swaim, where Tannehill got the sack fumble, which was just a stupid play call. So I think I have to agree with you, Jack. It's a B- for Ryan Tannehill. There's some plays that he made in the second half, 2 of them in particular, where he was let down by teammates, Burks and Hooper, on those 2 plays. And then Tannehill hurt the team and himself with the interception as well. So I think a B- is fair for Tannehill, because the first half was so damn good. Like, the first half, Tannehill was playing A+ football.
The chat's mood was a whole lot different at halftime than it is right now. And I know they got the win, but man, they looked like they were humming along on offense. And I thought that Vrabel took the ball out of Tannehill's hands late in the game. The Titans had, I believe it was an 11-point lead, 4th and 1, near midfield. And I understand the decision, but Stonehouse has got to keep that ball out of the end zone.
Yeah, it was a 4th and 1 with 6:16 to go.
And they had gone for it on 4th and 4 earlier in the game. I get it that it's a 2-point or 2-possession game, and your defense has been playing really well.
Yeah.
Pin them deep and trust in those guys. But with Terrence Mitchell out there, I mean, Jesus Christ. I don't know if Mike Vrabel's going to do that again, knowing that Mitchell's on the outside, because no lead is safe with him out there. 4th and 15, they're going to go right at Mitchell. But I thought that Tannehill and this offense, which is built to win in short yard situations, I do think that Vrabel kind of took the ball out of Tannehill's hands in that one.
But the short yardage, it was 4th and 1 at your own 46. I would have liked to see a quarterback sneak there. If you're going to go for it there, quarterback sneak's probably the move, because there was a couple times where Derrick Henry, when the Raiders knew Henry was getting the ball, they completely swarmed and overpowered the Titans O-line and got Henry in the backfield for negative. You could not afford to miss that 4th and 1. And the 4th and 1 there, I think quarterback sneak's the only option you can do it, and you scored a touchdown on it earlier in the game. So I think Tannehill would have gotten that if it was a quarterback sneak, because I don't remember him being stopped on a QB sneak since being the Titans starting quarterback. So, I can get on board with that play call only. Now, what's the potential that the Titans would have actually done the QB sneak in that situation? I don't know.
If I just think that maybe the team and the head coach and his staff don't really trust this offense enough. Like, if you beat the Bills last week, you got confidence rolling in, you're confident in your team. That's a decision you make. That's a decision that Vrabel's made before, to go for it in that type of situation. But with it kind of sputtering in the second half, and really for the first 2 weeks of the season, that made it a little more difficult. But it's a tough decision to make, and obviously hindsight's 2020. The Raiders almost came back and tied it up and sent it to overtime because of it. But that's a situation where I don't blame Vrabel for making the decision to punt, because the defense had looked so good all day, and Terrence Mitchell hadn't been totally exposed yet in that game. But you got to know your personnel. You got to know your personnel in passing situations. How much do you trust that secondary against a talented Raiders pass catching group? I mean, even though that Renfro wasn't out there, they've still got Waller, they've still got Moreau. Mac Hollins was big. Devontae Adams can beat you at any given moment. So it's a tough decision to make, and that's what Vrabel gets paid the big bucks for.
Yeah, Shrike on YouTube says Tannehill wanted to go for it on 4th and 1. I think he was just going to go until Vrabel said punt. He looked so confident. Yeah, that could have been interesting there. But overall, the Titans win the game, and we don't have to think about that. J. Cole says Austin needs to be the offensive coordinator. No, thank you. I don't want that. I'm not here for that heat. But I will say, I do think we collectively last week yelled loud enough about the toss play that they ditched the pitch. They ditched the pitch, Jack. The Titans ditched the pitch. at least for 1 week. Derrick Henry had a much better day against the Raiders defense. 20 carries for 85 yards. Now, he didn't really do much in the second half. I believe he only had 3 yards in the fourth quarter alone, which is kind of inexcusable to only have Derrick Henry have 3 yards in the fourth quarter. But they ditched the pitch, Jack. We at least got that done.
Yeah, it's a baby step, but it does feel like Todd Downing can't put 2 solid halves together in a row. Just like the Giants game. Man, great first half. What happened in the second half? Dud. Against the Bills, good first quarter. The other 3 looked terrible. And then today, excellent first half. Everything was clicking. Second half, nobody shows up. So I do think that falls back on Downing. And that's why I'm saying I don't want this win to kind of cover up Downing's mistakes, because they're still happening. And I get that the toss play didn't happen, but it just feels like he's got a really loose grasp on his personnel. I saw Cody Hollister in the game more than I would have liked to. When Hollister is on the field, everybody in the entire world knows what's going to happen. It's going to be a run play. I just don't see the point in having Hollister out there. He's still kind of tipping his hand a little bit to defensive coordinators, and just this offense has got to get in a rhythm and stay in a rhythm, because confidence is so hard to maintain in this league. I'm still not like, if I'm grading Todd Downing, he's not getting a B today. I know that much.
No, because they still go to Jeff Swaim way too often. And Jeff Swaim had 3 catches on 3. Well, the fumble was going to be Jeff Swaim's 4th target of the game when Austin Hooper had 2 targets. Traylon Burks had 2 targets. Derrick Henry had 6. It's like, I don't understand why they are so high on Jeff Swaim. I don't get it. They always talk about how Jeff Swaim is their best blocking tight end. I don't believe it. Because Jeff Swaim blocks like Western saloon doors. That's what he looks like. He's terrible. He just lets
traffic cone.
Yeah. He's a little better than a traffic cone, but I don't get why they're so high on him.
Yeah, it's crazy how they love to. I mean, he's involved every single game in the passing game, which, you paid Austin Hooper money to come in and help you there. You drafted Chigakonkwo, and, he's seen some action early in the season, not much today, but it is mind-boggling how they use their less athletic tight end in the passing game. Cater to the guys that you brought, cater to the athleticism that you have up there in Austin Hooper. So it's a frustrating trend that continues to happen, and you got to wonder what kind of dirt Jeff Swaim has on either Todd Downing or Mike Vrabel, because he is way too involved in the offense.
He's been around for a long time, and he was fine when he was like your definite third behind, Jonnu Smith and and who?
Ferkser.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the other tight end group where he was. Who was
it was oh my gosh, Michael Pruitt.
Yeah. So I'm sick of Jeff Swaim targets, and big time Timmy Tay on Twitch watching the show. Did Chig get a snap today? Yes, I did see Chig out there, and I will say Chig made a good play that not a lot of people will notice. The Dontrell Hilliard catch and run on 3rd and long, backed up in their own end, when Hilliard, I think it was like a 29-yard play. Chig created a block down the field just by running by, getting in the way, and holding his hands up. I don't know. If you go watch that Dontrell Hilliard play again, you'll see a player just kind of fly by the screen, and he just had his hands up like that. It was Chig just getting in the way. And it was a great play. That was a really good, smart play by Chig to not do more than that, because more than that might have been a block in the back or a hold or some type of penalty. And Chig got, Hilliard a couple extra yards.
Less is more sometimes, and that was the case there with Chigakonkwo. I thought Dontrell Hilliard, when he gets the ball, I said this on the Tighten Up podcast, I think Dontrell Hilliard is everything the Titans hoped Jeremy McNichols would be for so long. He gets the ball and anything could happen. I thought, he caught one pass where instead of going north and south to get a first down, I believe it was on a 3rd down play, I'm screaming, no. And then he takes it outside. I'm going, yes, because he ran up the sideline for like a 20-yard gain. That was a big play. I do like him kind of, in slip screen situations, and you can hide him a little bit. So
Yeah.
I thought he's, having him back was a good thing for this Titans offense.
I mean, Hilliard's having himself a really good season. Like, he had 2 carries for 14 yards, and the carries were, I think both of them were on 3rd and longs, where they were kind of like the surrender draw on 3rd and long just to keep the clock going. But he had 2 carries for 14 yards and that 1 catch for 30 yards. He missed the Buffalo game, and you probably really needed him. And he had 2 touchdown catches in the first game against the Giants. And so I really do think that Dontrell Hilliard is a strong part of this offense, and he can do a lot of multifaceted things for you. Jack, anything else on how you feel about this? I see some people saying the Jags look scary. I do not have I have my TV on ahead above me, the Bucks Packers game. So I don't know exactly what's going on in the Jags game. I'll pull it up on my computer. They're up 6-0 on the Chargers right now. And I believe they're driving as well on the Chargers. And so it looks like they've kicked 2 field goals and now are driving inside the Chargers 30. So the Jags could get an early, sizable lead on the Chargers with Justin Herbert banged up. So that's an interesting situation there.
I understand Titans fans, are thinking big picture, right? Because it's impossible not to. You've made the playoffs 6 years, or you've had a winning record 6 years in a row. You're back-to-back AFC South champions. You're wondering what's going on around the league. But with this team the Titans have this year, I understand what the expectations were heading into the season. You got to have tunnel vision. The Titans got to focus on the Titans. And, it's the Jags do look better. Doug Peterson's a good hire. I mean, when you compare, a Super Bowl winning coach in the NFL like Peterson to Urban Meyer, a complete and utter embarrassment for Jacksonville. And it's hard to get embarrassed in Jacksonville with some of the seasons that they've had. But that's what was going on with Urban Meyer. You got to worry about the Titans. The Titans have to get better week by week. I think they've done that. What I'd like to see is we're seeing, 1 or 2 guys each week pop. Week 1, it was Treylon Burks and, Kyle Phillips. Both of those guys were at the top of the Titans receiving charts. Week 2, nobody popped, so throw that out the window. But week 3, you get
week 2, unfortunately, a couple ACLs popped.
Yeah, oh man, that's tough. But week 3, it was Robert Woods. Derrick Henry looks good again. So we're seeing a couple guys stand out each week. They're getting better in different areas. I'm waiting for them to put it all together. Have an offensive performance where everybody's, on point. Treylon Burks, if he makes that catch, it's a different story for Treylon Burks today. And you're right. You said this before the game. I need to see him on the field more. We need more of Treylon Burks. Only a couple targets today. I know that he had the 1 drop, but let's give him a little bit more of a workload. You drafted him in the first round for a reason. Don't put him over on the sideline. The asthma thing's not an issue, right? Let the guy work. Let Treylon cook.
Yeah, and think about the 2 plays that he made, because he also had the reverse for 8 yards on the opening drive. Where he ran physical, he got extra yards, fought through a tackle. His 1 catch near the goal line. I mean, he almost scored his first touchdown, got tackled at the 1. Treylon Burks is a physical dude. Like, he can do this as long as the asthma stuff is behind him and not a factor. Treylon Burks can do this.
He's a bad man. I mean, you see the talent. Like, he's the second, if not the first, the most talented receiver the Titans had. I know that Robert Woods is a little more established, but the athleticism is just oozing out of Burks every time he touches the football. He's the guy that the Titans should go to in tough situations. They haven't done it yet. NWI pops up in big situations from time to time, but you need to see more of Treylon Burks out there. He's capable of really helping this team if the Titans will let him.
Yeah, I agree with Hammer. I think Burks has a really high ceiling. This offense and the Titans tend to do this with the rookies. They usually wait about a month before they really start featuring their rookies. And it was an important thing that Robert Woods had a big day. And I see Michael says on YouTube there that the Jags just scored a touchdown on the Chargers there. It looks like Trevor Lawrence touchdown pass to Zay Jones. So extra point good, 13-0.
Wow.
Jags over the Chargers in LA. How about this? I did see somebody comment a few minutes ago that the AFC West is overrated. So far, AFC South 2-0 today against the AFC West. And if the Jags win, that could be 3-0. The Texans played the Bears and got beat by them in overtime. I thought the Texans were about to get their second tie of the season, which would have been hilarious. But they did not. The Bears won.
I'm all about, propping up the AFC South, which is just getting kicked while it's down right now, in most national media circles. But I don't need to see the Jags and Colts win against these good teams. Like that's not what I want to see. If you're a Titans fan, you don't care how good the AFC South looks as long as you win it and get a home game in the playoffs. So while that's good, I would rather those other teams in the AFC South drop these games to the West. And the Jags caught the Chargers at the right time. Justin Herbert, I was surprised he played today. He could barely throw warm-up passes on the sideline the last time we saw him on Thursday Night Football. So they're getting the Chargers in a good spot. They're a confident team, and you're seeing the results of that early in this one. It's a long game whenever you play the Chargers. You can't count your chickens too early in that one.
Yeah. Yeah, and Herbert is playing. He looks, Michael Billington, I guess is my eyes on the Jags game, saying he looks rattled. I did see where Herbert did fumble earlier in the game. The good thing for the Titans is they don't play the Jags until December. They play the Jags December 11th, and then they play them again in Jacksonville in Week 18, January 8th.
They'll cool off by then.
There's a lot of time in between now and December 11th when the Titans host Jacksonville in Nissan Stadium, and you don't know what the situations are going to be like in that situation. But,
it could be a win in your in situation in Week 18 against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I mean, it's been that way for the Titans, at least in the last game of the season, needing a win to clinch something in the last game of the season, typically against the Texans or the Colts, really ever since Mike Vrabel, I guess since 2017, right? Yeah. Since 2017, the last game of the season has mattered for everything in the last week of the season. So we'll see how that goes. But
appreciate Blaine Gabbert's not starting in that win in your end game, and then you should be okay.
Right. Absolutely. A to Z Sports with our Titan Game Day Live. Thanks for everybody watching here. Do want to give another shout out to all of our great sponsors on the way out the door. This has been the Titans Game Day Live, Buddy Allen Carpet One post-game show, Buddy Allen Carpet One, Nashville.com, giving you free in-home measures and estimates on your new flooring. So check them out. Also, the NoDat app. Download the NoDat app today. Seriously, just give it a try. Download the app. What's another app on your phone? You should download the NoDat app. Download the Crumble Cookies app. Absolutely download the BetMGM app and use ATOZ Sports for risk-free bet on your first bet, pro football there. And then also Crumble Cookies, Mr. Goodroof, Buddy Allen Carpet One, everybody. Jack, thanks a bunch for stepping in today, and we'll see you guys. Oh, Buck Rising live tonight at 8 o'clock. You got something else? You got one more thing?
1-0 with Jack Gentry on the Titans Game Day show. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, Austin. Business decision.
That is true. The true business decision. Jack is undefeated. So Buck Rising live tonight as well. A to Z Sports Primetime around 8 p.m. Central Time. I believe Buck will be live from Nissan Stadium as he and Sam Phelan are gathering a lot of player interviews in the press conferences in the locker room as well. So make sure you follow us all over social media to catch that. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Go ahead and do that. Hit that subscribe button right there. Like the show before you leave as well. And we'll talk to you guys Monday morning. Appreciate it.